Hello friends, welcome to my craft table. I'm so glad you're here. I just love this creative time, being able to share it with you. It's like the highlight of my week. All right, so we haven't met yet. I'm Rita from Rita's Paper Motif, your creative destination for card making, scrapbook layouts, and inspiration for you to enjoy your craft. Now, what I'd like to do today is, before we jump in, I'd love to invite you to follow me here on Facebook so that you never miss a project or a tutorial. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel for fresh ideas every week. And of course, you're always welcome at my website, and that's thepapermotif.com. So you'll find everything that's happening here in the studio at the Paper Motif, including the product of the month, flyer, and the website is a quick guide with color inspiration and project ideas so that you can keep them handy while you craft. Now, I am going to take a minute here, 1 second. I want to pull this up so that I can see any comments you want to leave me. So let's see here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I was saying, yes, that going to the papermotif.com is the best place to keep current with everything that's going on in the studio. And so today what I want to do is I want to share a sneak peek from the upcoming September catalog. I wanted to share with you the brand new Painted Pumpkins stamp set and die set. This set is playful, it's painterly, and it's perfect for fall cards that feel fresh and modern. And I've been creating with them all week, so I'll show you finished cards first, and then we'll make a card together using ink, cardstock, and a fun surprise item from my craft room. So thank you so much, Denise, for joining us today. And let's see here. I thought maybe we froze. I guess not. Okay, so I also want to share with you a little twist that is not what you would think of when we talk about harvest blessings or fall. This twist is an item that is going to be in our catalog that debuts in September. It's called the poinsettia dies, but I didn't use it for poinsettias. We will do that in our Christmas mini series coming up in September. But I wanted to show you how I used these dies and they bloomed into a sunflower. So that is just a great reminder that our dies can stretch far beyond their original purpose and give us way more creative options with the tools that we already own. So let me encourage you to grab your favorite drink. I've got mine. Let's settle in and enjoy some creative time together. Now, if you're watching live, please say hello and let me know where you're watching from. If you're catching the replay, then type replay so I can come back and greet you. And then, of course, thank you for hitting that like button. The likes and the letting me know that whether you're watching replay or that you're watching live, it really does help this creative space grow. But more than anything, I just want you to enjoy yourself, and hopefully what I have to share with you will just spark that interest in paper crafting. Now, also again, before we wrap up this little intro here, I would like to ask you to mark your calendar for next Thursday, because I'm going to be sharing with you one of my favorite stencils and ink blending tips. I'll share with you how to choose your colors, your paper, your ink, and your brushes, plus tricks for smoother blends and stencil techniques that look advanced, but they're really not. They're very doable. And if you love color and you want more confidence with your inks, you won't want to miss it. Now, I have found that the ink blending just really makes things look so professional. So let's get in with today's with today's class. So when I am first thinking of what I want to create, I kind of create like, I call this my vision board, and take you for, I don't know who you are, I don't know you personally, but I want to thank you for stopping in today, Julie. So thank you. So I do create a vision, like a vision board, and the designer series paper that I want to be working with that week. So usually I try to choose one. Sometimes I can't. I'm all over the place. But this week I did choose one, and it's called the Sunflower Fields. And this is brand new. You can't get it till September, but here are the sheets of that DSP. So here's one sheet. So I call this the A side and this the B side. So here's the side that's thematic, and then here's it's like a graph. It's Gauge and Craze on maybe like a kind of very vanilla. And then here's side A and side B. This is really cute. And then this is probably one I'm going to have to think about using. I'll have to be very intentional with it. But I love the back side. And then here's another. So this is the Cajun Craze. I love how the sunflowers are, the print is subdued. And then there's the plaid in the back that is with the pecan pie. And then here's another, I like this. It's just, those are perfect colors. That's the Golden Glow and the sunflowers, and then the Cajun Craze. So what I do is I just take, I don't want to be fumbling with these all the time. So I just cut out circles and I make like my vision board. And then here's all the details about the designer series paper. So I have the item number and I have everything I need to know. Well, also, when I'm creating, sometimes I just like things to be obvious. And so I'll take these coordinating colors that are suggested and I'll just make some little squares down here, or sometimes I'll stamp the ink. But I'll just take those coordinating colors and do swatches of the cardstock down here. So when I'm doing a quick glance, I always can see what to work with, or ideas of what to work with. Now these do happen to be part of my color palette this month, so that worked out perfectly, right? Maybe not the Secret C so much, but this is a good, this is good to have, because sometimes black is stark, right? But this just really will blend with the rest of these colors. And I think I don't use the Secret C enough because to me it almost looks like a cross between black and navy. So, you know, it might really make some cute leaves, right? Anyway, so that's what I do to begin with, and then I always have this handy, and I just have to pull out one part. This is like the tag board that comes in the back of your designer series paper, right? So this designer series paper doesn't necessarily, well, it doesn't come with the painted pumpkin collection. This is something I chose differently. I will share with you that designer series paper that comes with the painted pumpkin collection next week. So I just wanted to show you. But let's start in with what I've created. Now, Someone asked me, do I like scrapbooking more than card making? And I can't honestly tell you. I do know that I started paper crafting by scrapbooking many years ago. I think that was in like 1995 or 92. And actually my friends and I did it kind of out of boredom because we wanted to have some girl nights, and so this is what we started doing. So I did create a 2-page layout, and this was kind of exciting for me because I have a lot of pictures that I haven't gotten in photo albums. I don't know, you know, life happens sometimes and we just get behind. But my husband and my granddaughter, she's grown up now, but they used to love to carve pumpkins around Halloween. And so I have a lot of pictures of that each year. And so I wanted to, you know, to keep those memories alive and put them on a scrapbook page. So this set, the Painted Pumpkins stamp set, and the dies are mostly what I used for this. And I want to talk a little bit, so here are the dies. I want to talk a little bit about my thought process. So first of all, I'll just go ahead and tell you that this alphabet set is very old. I don't even remember the name. It's probably like 5-6 years old. So anyway, I do like to use it though because I just think it's a good sturdy font. And so anyway, I think that especially children, because she was maybe what 4, 5, and 6 years old, 7. So this was very much a font that they used in school. So that was great. But what I did is I took some of the paper from the designer series pack. So it's this one right here. And I used it as a grounding point for my pictures. And then this is designer series paper. I think this and this designer series paper right here came from a workshop kit that I've had, and these are like the last pieces. So I just, you know, use them because they go with some of the colors in the pictures. Now you all know I don't put, very seldom do I put the pictures when I'm showing you the scrapbook pages because I don't always have permission from the people that are in the photos, so it's just as easy just to not worry about it. But so those pictures, what they're wearing kind of coordinates with the colors of the DSP. And then I took some of those dies. So I did stamp some and then I cut them. So with the dies, I wanted to just show you. So you have these 2 dies right here, and they coordinate with the stamp set. So, you know, this stamp set is not the size of the stamps. This is just the front of the package. But this die will cut the set of 3 pumpkins, and this will cut these 3 too. So the stamp set is all 3 pumpkins are together. So this is a stamp and this is a stamp. And then once you stamp them, you can run them through your die machine and it'll cut them apart. So originally, well, I had a lot of pumpkins that I had already cut, like this one that was in my stash, because I have a lot of pumpkin dies. I have a lot of those that I've just collected over the years. And so this is out of, I don't even know what color of cardstock this is. This is old. Oh no, you know what? This is crushed curry. But anyway, so then I cut some out of DSP that I had, just as like something whimsical. And then I thought, okay, I just don't know about this. I mean, it's okay, but you know, here's some more. This one I'd stamped and then die cut out, and then I cut this out of some old DSP I had. I just kind of felt like I wanted something more. So, you know, I got to thinking, in that collection came some stencils. And so that's how I got these pumpkins, is that I used the stencils. They're basically the colors that I'm using anyway. This is maybe new. This is like Coastal Cabana. But I started getting a little carried away with the stencils, and we're going to do stencils next week, so I don't want to get into it too much, but you can see the difference. I think that they just give your, they just create the pumpkins in a more elegant style. I don't know, a more professional maybe. So anyway, so that's what I did there. I just did a whole bunch, and then I cut them out. And this is from the stamp set. I'm going to put these back before I lose them. So this Hello Gorgeous is the stamp right here, and it's really a cute saying. It just goes with the whole thing. And Fabulous is from the stamp set. Then this little wordy bit is from an old, it's last year's workshop kit. And this is where I'll do my journaling. And then this is also from an old stamp scrapbook workshop. And then of course, you know, I have my tags. These are not cut all the way. They're just kind of the tops. And then you see this jute. This is new. This is new. It's coming up. Look at it. You get a package of 5. And so they're different colors. Now the thing with jute is, you know, we get used to the twine and it's like fine, a little thicker than thread, right? But it's easy to manipulate. The jute is easy to manipulate also, but it's a little heavier, so you have to take that into consideration. But it certainly gives me that fabric feel. So, you know, I feel like if you're going to do anything in autumn or Thanksgiving or fall, well, actually even Christmas, you could use this for Christmas too, and this. So I just, you know, I just think there's so many themes for Christmas. If you're doing like a botanical, or maybe, you know, they use a lot of woodsy colors and some decor. So this is perfect, but I just love this. I have to say, I am so excited because I feel that Stampin' Up! Is really giving us so many options. And I don't know what the spark is that has started this, but I'm going to say hurrah for them. They are knocking it out of the park. And so you're going to see that in September's catalog. So if you don't have a catalog, or if you don't always get a catalog, let me know. I'd be glad to get you one. If you're a customer and you've ordered in the past 6 months, then I would send you one automatically. So anyway, this is a must-have. Getting carried away there. And then I love to have a little bit of stamping or blending or something in my scrapbook pages. And so this is supposed to be dirt. It's right here from the stamp set, but I just used it just to draw a little interest in it. Also kind of takes some of that white out, right? I don't mind white space, but I just want it to be intentional. I want it to look intentional. Anyway, so here's the scrapbook page that I created. I could talk about that forever, I guess. And then I wanted to show you some cards I made. So here's a card I made. Now, you can, and another one. So we'll talk about them. So here is that stamped pumpkin using the stamp and then the dies, and then this is just the dies. So you can kind of see the difference, right? So when you look at these and you look at these, there is quite a difference. And here's some more. So I just made a thank you card, and then this is using an old die that I have that says hello fall. But I did want to tell you that right now you can still get them. The words for the season. They have like Happy Halloween and Happy Autumn. So if you're wanting something like that, you can get it right now, right? Anyway, this is from an old set, and I did also these leaves. So when I'm planning all of my fall stuff, I do a little bit of die cutting from some of my stash. So I have some punches that they're tiny. They create tiny little leaves like this. And so I'll just punch out some from my stash, and then that just is like, it's like a little bit of an embellishment that can just pull things together. So I'll do that ahead of time. And then I have another die that cuts out these bigger leaves. And so sometimes I'll do something like this in gold, and then I have the solid die that would cut out the solid leaves. So you can really, you know, just use some of those things that you have to ahead of time so that you have them when you're crafting. So sometimes I'll be crafting and I'll think, oh no, I wish I had this, or I wish I had that. So if I do this ahead of time, then I, you know, have it ready to go. Also, these dots, I just wanted to tell you that they are retired, but I like to, you know, I don't know where, I bought a whole bunch of them, and so I'm just using them up because these all fit with my color palette, right? And so what am I going to do if I don't use them? I mean, they're not going to become more current the longer I let them sit. So I use some of those. And then you can see on the back of each card, I have some leaves, like you can see like shadows of leaves. Well, I'm telling you, can't wait again. This is a stencil. This is a stencil from the stencil pack. So when you decide that you want the painted pumpkin, it comes in a collection. So you'll get the dies and the stamp and the stencils and some DSP and of course some bling. So this is what I just laid on my card. And then this is actually old olive. You could use any color you wanted. You could do tone on tone, whatever would work for you. So that's also something you can do. But that's what I used for the background there. And then I just, you know, did the inside there. So that's a card, couple cards I made. And then remember I told you I wanted to talk to you about, I got stuff all over the place, don't I? I wanted to talk to you about the pretty poinsettia die. So this is also a bundle that you can get, so the stamps and the bundle. But I don't want to give too much away because this is something we're going to do in the Christmas mini series. But do you see how these dies? So let's take a look at them. I haven't even put them in the magnet sheets yet, but so these kind of they do layer. So you know, you can just die cut them and then you just keep building those layers, and this is what you can come up with. Now imagine this not as a poinsettia but as a sunflower, and so that's what I did. I took this layer right here and created the leaves. So this is I have some that are left. So you'll see that there's some texture in them. And, you know, you just change the color of the cardstock you're die cutting, right? And then you get a different thing. So we're going to do this. I'll just tell you, we're going to do this at Christmas time, but there's also something, it's a surprise, that is going to give you even more texture. And so you'll want to come back for that. But that's what I use for this sunflower. Now, I love sunflowers, so for me, those go hand in hand in the fall. I wish I could had them all over my yard. Maybe, I'm not sure, maybe the neighbors are not as fond of them as I am, but I just love them. And then I use some of that DSP here. This is like, I think I might have used this as a card sketch at one time, but I did that, and there's that jute. And I do want to say one thing about the jute. When you loop it around, like I like to do this with twine, you want to make sure that you put enough dimensionals on here because this is heavier. And to stabilize this circle that I made with my Spotlight in Nature dies, I think you want to use a few more dimensionals. And then this is the inside. This is my new thing. You know, when we paper crafters, we go through cycles and we choose different things, and and we get on kicks. Well, so I really do like to decorate the inside of my cards now also. And I do wanted to say I'm sorry I've missed some of you that have joined us. I missed greeting you. I'm just not really great at that, so if you just leave, you know, just say hello, I can come back and thank you for visiting. But just know I do thank you. I love my community, and so just thank you. So here's another card that I created. Now, I wanted to create a card with you today, so this is another one. This card is just a little more involved. So this is using the painted pumpkin dies and some of that DSP. So when you look at this, it looks like a card, right? But this is, it opens up and there you see the paper pumpkins. So, not paper pumpkins, there you see the pumpkins. So this is the card I want to create with you today. And so let's get started. So we're going to begin with a, now this is on a white card base, but today I wanted to create it on a piece of early espresso. So that kind of stays with my color palette. All right, so we're gonna let's just go ahead and fold it. So this was 11 by 4 1/4, and then I scored it at 5 1/2. So you could do that, or if you wanted to make a bigger card, you can do that too. But this is an A2 size, so we're just gonna go ahead and score that. And then we have 2 pieces of Very Vanilla. Now, the Very Vanilla, one is going to go on the inside, so the smaller one goes on the inside. And one of the reasons I chose the Early Espresso is that we don't have to put too many layers on here, because our cardstock is a nice thickness, whereas when I make my cards with the basic white, I use just the regular basic white, because I put so many layers on it, and I don't want it to be so heavy. So, so this smaller one goes on the inside, and then this will be a layer on the outside. But then we want to create this layer right here, right? So this is going to go on here. Now that looks way too big, and it is, because we're going to do some ink blending. And so let's go ahead and get started with that. Now, we'll do that, and then we'll look at some other options, so, or some other things that we did. So let's see here. I'm going to get out my little crafty sheet here so I don't get my paper all dirty. And we're going to want our brushes. And I am going to choose Garden Green for the grass, and I'm going to choose Coastal Cabana for the sky. So what I'm wanting to create is this top part, I want to create it as the sky, and the bottom part as the grass. Now, you definitely could, mine is not so dark, you can make it darker. You could also make it look even more like dirt. Now, I did stamp that dirt stamp down here, but it's all covered up, so kind of was to no avail, right? But anyway, so we're going to just go ahead and open our Coastal Cabana. Again, you could use any blue that you want, but I find that some of the blues seem to me to feel a little too blue. So I'm going to get some paper towel here, because I definitely want to make sure there's no ink on this brush. So let's see, here we go. So I am going to grab some ink with my brush, and I'm not putting a lot of pressure on the brush here, because there's no need for it. And so we just want just a small amount of blue, and you can see instead of putting pressure on it, you just kind of continue to rub it. So I don't want this dark. So, and also I'm doing this very gently because I don't want splotches. So the sky does have different colors in the sky, right? So the clouds. So that's why I want to create that airy look there. And excuse me, and I'm starting off my paper because if you I found that if I go directly to the paper, sometimes I'll get a splotch on there and it's hard to fix. One of the things I do kind of want to do is make sure that the edges are, looks like I might need some more balmy blue ink there. I do want to make sure that I go far enough down. Now let's get this is garden green, and even though I use mostly old olive, I am going to use garden green, and that is just because old olive is, it would take a lot more ink than the garden green. But I did want to show you that because you're going to see two different blending brush sizes. So this one is just smaller. When I do my stencils, sometimes I like smaller brushes. So I have 4 sizes actually. We'll talk about the different sizes and why and when I use them. But these are the 3 sizes that I mostly grab. So we're going to use this right now. And again, we're going to get some ink. If you put your finger on here, I don't know, sometimes it's like it just happens. It's like instinct. Just be sure you're not pushing down, because what you'll do is you'll ruin the bristles on the brush. And then I try to keep my hand like this. Sometimes you'll see me put my finger there. Like I said, it's an instinct, but try not to put pressure on the head of the brush. So we'll start out here, and we'll just, that is a cardstock thing. See that little, it'll be covered up, but it happens. So and I want to go up into the blue because I want them to kind of go together. Now, a lot of this green will not show, and I still have a lot of ink on my brush, so I don't really need to ink it anymore. I do both motions, both ways, right and left and right and left. So I think that's enough green. We'll just kind of wipe that off. And then I'm gonna go, I'm gonna put this up, and then I am gonna go back to my garden green. I mean blue. You knew it was blue. Oh, this is garden green. I just put it on my blue. Oh no. Oh no. I put away the wrong ink. This is the one I want to put away. Oh my gosh, I hope I didn't ruin my brush. You know, I try not to wash my brushes because if the water sits down on the, if you lay them like this and the water sits there, it loosens the brushes. Oh gosh, I can't believe I just did that. Well, let me see if I can get all this green off. I think we're good. Well, we're live, right? If this wasn't live, I would take that part out. Okay, so we're gonna get some more ink here. And I am going to clean this off just so that I don't put my hand on it. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to blend that green with the blue is what I'm trying to do. We're going to be cutting this down, so sometimes if you have imperfections on the side. Okay, we're good there. Okay, that's it for our ink blending. Let's go ahead and we're going to cut this down. And so this panel, and I'm thinking that maybe, okay, so this is going to be, we want this to be 3 3/4 by 5. So when I put it on here, it is like almost 4 1/4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut each side off a little until I get it to 3 3/4. So let's just take this out. I'll turn it around. Let's see when it measures almost 3 3/4. So I'll just put it on the 3 3/4 and just go ahead and trim that. And then I want it lengthwise to be 5. So it measures 5 1/2. So let's just cut 1/4 off the bottom and 1/4 off the top. And I like to start with a bigger piece because if there's any imperfections on the side, then you know we can take care of it. Now here's something that I don't think is going to work out too good for me. I don't like that so here's what I'm thinking. Let's take some of that designer series paper that we have, and I think this might work good, right? So what if we put, let's see. What if we put this on here so it brings us, let's do that. So we'll cut some of this. You can see in the card that I made before, it's sitting on green and then on white, right? But let's just change this up. Let me make some room here. I kind of, all right. So let's make this 4. Not quite 4, because that other, we want this to sit on that very vanilla. So we'll make this a little less than 4, but not as small as this. And then I'll tell you the finished size in just a second. Okay, so the finished size is not quite 3 3/4 and not quite 5. So let's see how that works. If we put that on here, we have a little bit of a margin. And then if we put this on here, we have some brown. So that works out good. Let's do that. Okay, for video's sake, I love it when the garbage truck decides to come right in the middle of my video. And I'm being facetious. So I'm gonna use liquid glue. And I should get out my and I'm gonna try and place that so that I have an equal margin. And I love my craft mat because even if you get glue on it, you can, or hot glue or whatever, you can rub it off. And it does save this paper. Saves your work surface. Okay, so I'm not gonna put this on there just yet, but I am gonna put this on my card, just so I don't have a lot of pieces hanging around. Okay. Well, that worked out, didn't it? When it's your card, you can, you know, do whatever combinations you want. And that's kind of why I like, and I'm using this liquid glue, just gives me a little bit of time to manipulate things, because I don't, whoop, that's what I did in the first place. Okay, this will go inside. Now let's work on this. So you see in my card right here, we can go ahead and put the pumpkins in the sunflower, but I want to talk a little bit about this fence. So I built my fence, and I'll tell you what I did to build it. I first cut it out of, this is crumb cake, and you can see, I think you can see the texture on this, right? So I really like that, and you could just enhance it by maybe taking some early espresso, and you can just kind of run it through, and then it'll give it that patina look. Because I don't know about you, so you don't need a whole lot, right? Just a little bit. So I don't know about you, but my fence in time has gotten, it's gotten a little like worn looking. And so I thought about this, but here's my thought. And that is, I knew I had some of this designer series paper. It's from the Country Woods, and I actually bought 2 packs. I don't know what I was thinking. Sometimes I wonder when I think back, what was I thinking? So instead of using these two from the die set, and I'll show you that die set, I'm kind of thinking you're following my mind, but so this die and this die. So instead of using that, and here's another one. This is using some other DSP. The thing with DSP is it's very lightweight, and it's not going to take that constant opening. It's going to start to get to fall apart. So if you are going to use cardstock, that works. But if you're not going to use cardstock, then consider using 2 pieces of DSP, because it just gives it more strength. So that's what I did. I actually cut out 3, and then I realized I didn't want this on the back of my fence, which would be fine. So I just I just flipped the designer series paper over, so it was kind of like cutting that in a different way, right? Because this is what I want you. This is what I want you to see when you open the gate. So let's go ahead and glue these pieces, this also, and then we'll move on. I want this to dry while we're putting the pumpkins together. So this actually, when you start doing a lot of intricate die cuts, then your paper gets even more thin. So there's a little piece of the die that didn't come out. Here it is. So let me pull that out. There we go. Because see, all right. So let's just go ahead and put a little bit of glue. I don't want a lot. Whoop. Don't need a lot. Our glue is very, it does its job. And I found that the more, and I just got, the more glue you use, you just don't need to use that much glue. All right, so we're going to glue these together. We're going to do all of this, and then we're going to do our pumpkins. So I want them together, and this is going to, here's part of that, another part of that, part of the die that didn't come out. Let's see. There we go. All right. It also gives you a little bit of time to, you know, any imperfections that maybe you need to work on that you can. So I don't know what this is, but let's cut it off. Okay. So we're gonna let that dry. I'll put a block on it. And then we're gonna go ahead and do these as well. And you'll see it when it comes together, you'll see why I'm doing all of this. I know it seems kind of like, what are you doing? But now I have a fence that has some patina. We had a tree, the neighbors had a tree that had to be removed, and so it had messed up some of my fence. So when they replaced the fence, it looked way different than the rest of the fence. Okay, so there's something else I want to show you, and I actually have them in a little cup. Part of the dies, so it's this little die part here. This creates these little parts that are going to go right here. So when you have a gate, you have something, hinges, or I don't know what they're called. Hinges are something that allows the gate to open, right? So that's what these are, and then there's a handle. Now I want to tell you what, my gate doesn't have a black handle. Mine is silver or platinum or whatever that metal is. And so you could create this out of some simple silver, or, I mean, you can change it up to whatever you want, right? Lighter wood, or I just used black, but you could use whatever you want. But that's what this die is. And I did go ahead and cut two and layered them, because when I did this card, I had wished I had layered it a little bit. So here's that die that goes in here. And so we're not going to do anything with that just yet. This should be dry by now. So I am going to go ahead, and I want to put at least this part on my card so that I can put those pumpkins, right? So I need to start with that. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to put these back in here so I don't lose them. Trying to not lose stuff. Okay. So here we go. So this will go first, and I'm going to put it way over to the edge right here. So let's, and I don't think it matters whatever side you want to use. I'll put the dark side in because I see that this die is off a little. So we want it to sit. Thank you, Peggy, for joining me today. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and glue it like that. I should use my mat here. And then we're gonna put this, so this part right here is gonna sit on this, so that kind of gives it that part to fold, right? So I'm just gonna put the adhesive right on here, and we're gonna line that up just like that. All right, now I'm going to open this because I cut out, I did. You guys saw that sunflower I cut out, right? What did I do with it? Oh, I don't want to have to cut another one. Oh, here it is. Okay, so I want this to sit up past the fence. So that's why I just, you know, the pumpkins are going to cover up the bottom part. So it's up to you if you really, you know, I have these leaves coming through here, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. But I kind of liked it, so I'm going to go ahead and just glue it like that so you can see the fence, the leaf poking through the fence, right? So let's go ahead and do that. And this I fussy cut from that, from that DSP. That is not what I wanted. I got carried away with that glue. So I fussy cut this sunflower from that, and I'm going to have to glue this on here because I got glue everywhere. So change of plan there. Okay, and so then we're going to go ahead. Now I have all of these pumpkins that I've done, and we can select them, which one we want. So here's one just from that die. Here's one that just from the DSP. Here's one. These are all using the stencils. And I liked, you know, when I'm doing my fall cards, I like a little bit of whimsy, so it's okay. If, I mean, I never saw a pumpkin like that, but that's okay. So we have a bunch of pumpkins, so we can really just choose what we want. Let's see, do I have this size? So if we open up our card, like this card has them just all kind of stacked. So if you want to, if some of them didn't get, like sometimes the dies would moved on me a little bit, and that's my fault. That's user error. You could cut a little bit of that if you want to, but let's just go ahead and, you know, we'll start putting some in here. So I'm going to put this right here. I don't need the pumpkins to sit up past the fence. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. Maybe a little more. I'm getting kind of shy with that glue because I really messed up a while ago. So let's see, I'm just going to put that like right there. And you could take this stamp, like I did, you could take this stamp and do some stamping here that would look like dirt, but it really doesn't, it's going to get covered up by the pumpkin, so I'm not sure that's necessary. Okay, so there's an orange one, orange pumpkin. So let's think about some different colored pumpkins. So, you know, that's kind of neat, right? Is that the shape we want though? Or would we rather have this? Here's what I'm thinking. How about this one? No, how about this one? And excuse me. And we're going to want to get some small dimensionals, because here's what happens. When this sets on this, you're going to have a difference of elevation, and that's going to be too much. So we'll just put just a dimensional or two on there, just so that you don't have it all wobbly. So it'll go kind of like this. So let's put a little bit of glue here. And they can be at different heights, right? Okay, and then let's try, this one's cute. And this one's gonna need dimensions on the other side because it's having to be level with 2 right here, right? So let's put a little glue. So you really can put whatever, however you want your pumpkins to be, you can do that. So I think just having a variety is a good idea. I actually was hoping I had maybe I do have a smaller one of these. So I kind of like to just cut out all my stuff and put it in a tray like this. I got these off of Amazon. I know that you can get them at different places, but here, I'm going to do something totally different. But I just, you know, I think to myself, I'm just using them to kind of stack up my stuff, so I don't need to. I'd rather spend my money on crafting supplies. So let's see here. We're going to put this right here. So I need some dimensionals right here. Now this is old designer series paper, and I don't. Again, some of this I don't know where it came from, because they're little pieces. And I don't know, to me that, I don't know. I just don't worry about it. So that's gonna go right here. And I'm just like winging it. So you can, obviously, so you can do the same. And now we have a whole bunch of pumpkins. You could do just a whole lot more if you wanted to. It's up to you. It would be up to you. But you can see those beautiful pumpkins. And we're going to talk about that next Thursday, because I'm going to show you different ways to even make them more elegant. So let's go ahead and fix the hinges and stuff on there. So let's do that. So I don't know how hinges go. I don't know if this is the right way or not. To me, I don't think it matters. So I'm going to just go ahead and, does it matter? It's a card. Okay, so here we go. And I'm trying to put them where that bar right here might go. Does that make sense? So here's a piece of wood that goes across. Is that called the crossbar? Whatever. That's where I'm putting this. And I'm making this up because I don't know if that's really. I don't know. I'll have to check my fence. All right, and I'm going to do the same right here. Okay, and then this is the handle. And we're going to put it right here. Okay, so then I thought it would be cute to have like a little sign on there. My fence says, "Beware the dog." So you could put whatever you want. I thought I would put hay. So let's get out that stamp set and we'll put hay. And here's this tag. Now you can see I used I'm using a tag that I had in my stash. It's got a little cut here, but if I use that whole tag, it would take up the whole fence, right? So we're gonna cut it anyway, but let's go ahead and stamp the word hey. And here it is, right here is the stamp set. And we'll stamp the inside of our card too while we're stamping. So what do we want to stamp on the inside of our card? Hey is the outside, so that's the outside sentiment. Whoa. How about, let's see, what is that stamp? How about I hope your day is fabulous. That would be kind of fun, right? So let's go ahead and take that out. And there we go. All right. I am going to use early espresso. You could use black if you want, but I'm staying within my color palette, right? So I need a piece of paper because I want to make sure my stamp is working. Yep. Sometimes I notice that in between the H, the two legs of the H, that if I get too much ink, it really does show up. So, whoop. We'll turn it over. I don't think I put it all the way down in my, there we go. My hay didn't look too good. All right, so we'll clean that off in a minute. Let's go ahead and stamp the inside. We'll use the same color. I want to get kind of in the middle, so I'm using my grid paper here to help me because I need to really focus on getting things straight. So there we go. All right, we'll wipe up those stamps. Hooray! And I just use this is actually a chamois that came with my glass mat, but it's perfect because I can just wad it up, keep it in this plastic thing, and it's there. My other chamois got so bad I was kind of like embarrassed to use it anymore. This is getting bad too, but the other one was really bad. And then the new chamois just never got pliable like I liked it. So, you know, we do what works for us, right? Everything is all relative. Okay. So then I thought, well, let's put a pumpkin on here. So how about that pumpkin right there? So let's just put him on there. So we can decorate that too. Okay, now we can put it on the inside of our card. I remember one of the nicest inserts that I ever made. The card was a landscape, and for some reason I wasn't paying attention and I made it portrait. I was so upset at myself. Okay, so I don't know why I'm sharing that, but all right. All right, so there we go with that. Now, one last thing I wanted to do before we finish this hay. I am gonna cut this. And I know we could cut it with the scissors, but I want to cut along that line. So I'll put it in here. Let's see if I did it. And then I don't want that just like straight like that, so I'm going to see if I can round the corners a little. Let's see here. Okay, and then we're going to get some of that jute. I'm going to make a bow with it because when I tried to, like I wanted to wrap it around that, one of the posts, the jute is too heavy. It just will like it just will make that post lean in. So, let me go ahead and put this on the front of our card. So I hope you're enjoying this. I do want to I hope that I don't like to tease people, but I do hope that you're getting excited about that new catalog because it's got some really nice stuff in it. Plus, the online exclusives. So you really can't, I mean, it's just a great deal. And I wanted to remind you that the product of the month also is some beautiful designer series paper. So what I would suggest is that you know, to get the product of the month, you have to spend $75. And so I know that September is not around yet, but there's a lot of maybe stuff like stock up on your red cardstock or your cherry cobbler, because those are things that you're going to be using for your Christmas, right? And I will be sharing shortly my color palette for Christmas, so you know, you can do that so that when September comes around, you can concentrate on the product. And I like to, you know, usually I like to do Christmas in July, but I thought, well, I'd rather you be able to see all this new product, and then I feel kind of like it just starts off on a whole different level, right? So let's go ahead and put this on here now. You can glue it or you can use dimensionals. I've got a lot of elevation going on here, so I'm just gonna glue it. I'll put it right like that, and right where the hole is, I'm gonna put that jute. But I also have some of these, I don't know what they're called. I also have some of these that I wanted to kind of put through the fence so it looks like the vines are poking out. So let's see, I have that one. What are these called? Tendrils, or I don't know what they're called. But I just thought that that's kind of fun to have poking through. So I'm going to cut this one. Well, you could put it on the inside too if you want, but I really want them poking out here. So I'll put this one on the inside and this one poking out through the fence. So let's see here. Yeah, like that, right? So let's just put a little bit of adhesive on the back of this. So there's that. And this would be cute poking out too, so maybe it could come out from there. And then we can put, this has texture too, so in those dies you get a little bit of texture in the leaves. So we could put that right here. let's see here. I'm kind of nervous with this glue. Okay. Okay, now let's just put our jute on, and I'm going to use a glue dot for that. Let's see here. And most of the time I like to ball up the glue dot, but because this jute is, it really is strong. It feels just like jute. All right, so I'm just gonna put that there. Now you can, you know, decorate with whatever you want. We have a lot of nice jewels, but I want to use up some of these because I just want to use them up. So I'm thinking, what do I want to put? Do I want to put green? Do I want to put Cajun craze? What do I want to put? So I'm going to go ahead, and I think I'm just going to use the orange. And I didn't even have to use my take-a-pick tool. They used to make them, they used to be a little thicker. So there's the card we made today. Now let's just kind of review. So we used the painted pumpkin. I don't know where I found this, but it does have the colors right. So we used the painted pumpkin stamp set on the dies. And then you're going to come back next Thursday, and we are going to look at ink colors, how to choose them from the color wheel, and how to blend them nicely so that they look professional. And if I can do it, I know you can do it. So let's come back for that. And I'm just going to pull all of those cards back in here just as a review. So this is showing us how we can extend our product, and that's always a good thing. It always makes you feel better that you could, you know, extend things and get like 2 for 1 or whatever. So, thank you for showing up today, and I really want to thank all of you that joined. I know it really is hard for me to watch what I'm doing and then to greet you. I know some people are great about it, but I am not. So anyway, thank you for showing up. Please go ahead and hit that like button. If you haven't followed me, I'd really appreciate if you do so. And then any comments that you have, just, you know, go ahead and make them. And I'll see you back next Thursday. And thank you so much for joining me. Have a good week. Bye now.